So we're live now, and I know
All right, I was just picking up my cup there because I
it's
know it's
very
gonna be a
okay.
long.
The audience
Gonna
know
be,
when we are live, we always have to do some kind of things before whatever happens. We are never the perfect one. Anyway, so let's. You are watching the Pan African Daily TV with Dr. Susan Tatah. The Africa we want: unity, consciousness, our culture, our spirituality, our history. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Motherland's calling its diaspora home. Join my voice. Join my team. Join my campaign. Campaign 21 hashtag 1 million subscribers on the Pan African Daily TV YouTube. Be a volunteer. Apply now. Be the new Africa. Wow, wow, wow. Thank you so very much. I mean, you see, when farmers of thoughts are here, we already have 212 watching. When they know that the boss man is here connecting, we already have close to 236 now watching live from farmers of thoughts, and all of you that are connecting to join. We have our king, Dr. Maponga Joshua, who is going to give us current updates. It's been a while that we have actually not shared this space together, and he has been touring the continent. And there are questions. So we want to have his opinion on what does he think. What are the current updates on the continent and also in the diaspora? I mean, like connecting the Ukraine war. What does he have as an opinion about it? And then we've been seeing it's some kind of like what Africans are calling, are we again on the lane of slavery? Are we now not being the ones that they will have to come to us? We would have to go to them because we saw the president of Democratic Republic of Congo in Belgium and all this, and Africans are like, what is happening? Congo again? Congo again, and this time it's us. So yes, we want to find out a lot. So like I say, when King Maponga is here, it's like a checklist. So we have a lot of checklists going on now. Like we have met him connecting, with leaders, with presidents, and the community. So what is also his feedback about that? What can he say? Are we making some progress? Are we just been doing some talking? The people or our youth, people that we're connecting to them, are they actually following up? So we need a checklist from the watchers of the past, from the past into the future. But now also we have seen him in another newly created space, connecting the top and the bottom. So it doesn't belong to the top, doesn't belong to the bottom, doesn't belong in the middle. And these are all questions because we know the only person that speaks straight truth to power without mincing words, without trying to manipulate intentions and our feelings is no other person than King Maponga Joshua. I want to thank you, all of you that are watching from Farmers of Thought page, you that are watching from Pan African Daily Spaces, and also from our YouTube channel. We welcome all of you here. So I don't want to waste time because we know we missed him a lot. Me too. I really want to sit behind and relax and hear. What is it that you want us to hear today? My king, I see your name, Marara. And everybody knows you like King Maponga Joshua. People are like, Dr. Susan, are you crazy? Who are you sitting here in the studio? Can you first of all tell us what is Marara? Is it a new title, a new name?
well, Africans, we are not poor. I have more than 10 to 15 names which you can call me. So I am Joshua Marara Munyoki Maponga Chigaramboko chiwechitedza chinokugwara wana manga vari pedo notamba nacho mutambo uri parware vana matanga kugara ndimana mushamba negore wiramiti yasvosve mukanya. No, it goes on. These are my totemic names. So, and all of them, if one day we have time, then I will begin to unpack what each name means. because we don't just name each other as Africans. There are names behind these meanings. So when I come to you today and I'm saying my name is Marara, I'm coming to you as a question. Marara is asking, are you still sleeping? Marara is a question. Are you awake or you are sleeping? Marara is the name which my grandfather had as his first name before the colonial name Joshua. So his mother named him Marara. Marara also means rubbish, because my grandmother had stillbirths of many other children. So ancestrally speaking, then you name the child that will be born and give them a useless name so that the demons will not kill him also. So they named him Marara. But Marara also means rubbish, as it also means leaves that are falling out from the tree. And when they fall to the ground, they become Marara. Marara also means manure, where the next generation seeds must begin to grow from. So when I come to you as Marara tonight, I'm asking you two questions. Are you sleeping? Number two, are you able to plant your ideas on my rubbish, on my manure, and you can be able to harvest a good harvest? So it's a question. It's an anthropological question. It's a historical question. It's a contemporary question. It's a system-level question. Are we awoke as Africans? Are you prepared as Africans to place your ideas on fertile ground so that ideas can manifest and you can realize your future? I thank you.
Wow, I mean, it's just perfect. I think it fits also to the conversation today. And but can other persons be named Marara, or is it a particular? Because I know a lot of people that are always reaching out to questions now on Pan African Daily, how they can name their children. What can we suggest? Is it seasonal or that? What would you advise? So Marara, anyone can name Marara, isn't it?
Yes, you can name anyone Marara, but I suggest when you are naming your child Marara, you name them with intention as to what do you want to see them becoming, so that it does not just become a name, it becomes a mission which you are giving to your child and say, throughout your life, ask people, are they woke? And while you are living your life, make sure that you are manure where other people can plant their ideas. So yes, you can name any child Marara, but it's always nicer when it is given as a second name because it speaks to purpose. Because when it is used on a day-to-day basis, particularly for young children, it can become very traumatizing. Because how do you explain to a young child that you are Marara and Marara means rubbish? It takes a certain amount of maturity for them to begin to appreciate that the name does not only mean this, it can also mean that. It can also mean that. So I would suggest if you are strong enough to support your child from birth, yes, you can name them Marara, but it's usually nicer as a second name when they are at a level of maturity. Then they can be able to cope with the side effects. Imagine in your life, Dr. Tatah, being called rubbish, and your grandmother or grandfather or mother calls you rubbish, and you must learn to live that my name is rubbish, but here I am as rubbish, but all plants grow from me. Mrs. Rubbish, Mr. Rubbish. It also teaches you how do you cope with the junk that comes to your life. You know,
Absolutely.
do you throw it away or do you plant flowers on your rubbish? And you know now that good flowers, good trees grow on fertile ground. Marara means fertile ground. So don't be afraid to place your seed on my rubbish. You will harvest.
Ashe, Bayete, thank you so much, my queen. I must first of all congratulate you because, like I said, we did a couple of research last week to kind of assess how we started with the awakening and then where we are now. Voices that were very loud, which voices are still actually consistent in keeping the work, and it came out 150% that you are the only voice now that is keeping it real from the beginning till now, and you're even going further and further. I mean, so first, that's a feedback and a congratulation for your work. You have been constant. You have not resisted. You have not relented your effort. You also have not changed position, but a little bit. We're going to come to that now. Like, you know, so you have grown, and we actually are thanking you so very much in this mission, because it's not easy. A lot of us have resigned. Pan-African Daily is also one of those that have kept its mission, and we came in at the second consistent. Yeah, don't say it's because it was our research. It was a community research. Okay, so thank you so much for that. But coming back to you, my king, current update. What can you just say? Like, you want to assess where we started, where we are now in terms of the leadership, in terms of the youth, in terms of our people, and in terms of the global space. What would you put? We have three instances, like I said.
I have an appeal to send to our young people out there. And I'm going to say it in a parable. Well, I'm getting old. I'm not getting young. I can see things in many windows and in many perspectives.
Mm.
So here you are on a ship, and you are sailing in the sea for 300 kilometers. You sail into the sea. Then you discover 300 kilometers later that the boat or the ship is not going in the right direction. Option number one, kill the captain with hope that one of you can sail backwards. And you have enough training to go back or to champion the ship towards the right direction.
Mm.
Option number two, start making noise in the ship and confuse the captain. Refuse to cooperate and make noise and toy and start burning the ship. Option number three, tell all the people on the ship to jump out of the ship and let's sail back to the shore. And we can start building our own ship and we go in the direction that we want. Now, the last option, you must make sure that the people that are coming back with you to sail for 300 kilometers or swim for 300 kilometers are able to swim for 300 kilometers. But I can guarantee you, you are not going to reach the shore with more than 10% of the people. All of them will be eaten by sharks. Some of them will drown. Many of them will die. If you make noise in the ship, you toy, option number two, you make as much noise as you want, but the captain will never understand what's happening because he's following a map that is in front of him, whether it is a colonial map, a Roman Dutch map, or whatever map that has been left on his desk. That's where he is going. Option number three, you can walk up to the captain and share notes with the captain and have a meeting with the captain. Honorable Captain, can I see your compass? We are supposed to be going here, but your compass is taking us over here. Can you adjust your compass so that we go in the right direction? I want to challenge African young people. The temptation we have right now is of creating new opposition parties. Zimbabwe, as I'm talking to you right now, is 170 opposition parties. 170 opposition parties. And all those leaders of those parties, all those leaders of those parties are aspiring to become presidents. Question: is it difficult for you as young people to talk to the captain Is what you want to be a leader, or what you want is the success of a country and the benefit of your people? You're going to be shocked, Dr. Tatah. Our young politicians are not interested in the people. They are interested in power. All they dream about is themselves as presidents, not changing and transforming their community. Because if they were interested in transforming the community, they could come to the table and talk to the leaders and say, how do we champion this ship towards a common destination? And between me and you, as an old man now, you take less energy, you lose less people, you spend less time negotiating for repositioning than fighting for power. You say your leaders are corrupt. When you get there, you are going to be corrupt also. You are poor. You don't have a car. You don't have a house. You don't have a bank account. So don't lie to us that you are going to get there and do things differently. We are just changing hyenas with foxes. So in my old age, I know I may sound like a broken record. I would rather go to Namibia and speak to the president, advise him how he can move the ship towards the right direction. I'll get to Zimbabwe. I'll speak to Mnangagwa and support him and show him in which direction I think that this ship must be going. And I think if all of us can stand around our leaders with a clear objective of how to help them, and I also want our leaders to open their ears, that when people are talking, please open your ears and listen to what the people are saying. For if you are a leader and you're not leading people, then you are leading yourself and destroying us. In my 2 cents worth, my trip around Africa now, you're going to begin to see new things happening. I've talked a lot. Now I am going to show you, as an African nation, how we can join the old people and the young people, the ruling parties and the opposition parties, beginning to come to the table for conversations. So the battle for conversation has started. Namibia is under the belt. I'm going to Botswana tomorrow. I am in South Africa on Thursday. I'm in Zimbabwe the following day. I'm heading for Ghana. I'm getting for Egypt. And from Egypt, I'm coming towards you in Berlin, in Germany. But my purpose is simple. Talk to the old, talk to the young. Talk to the old, talk to the young. At the end of the day, the enemy is taking advantage of the division between the old politician and the young politicians. And that's where we find lots of opposition parties being sponsored by Americans and British, the French and the Germans, to destroy their own countries. And they think that they're doing Africa a favor when they are actually slaves and servants of colonialism. I thank you.
Thank you so very much. That can never be even said again, because you say Zimbabwe, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. And I think it's a system that is actually made to be that way, because the many people, how can you come to the table when you have, like you say, 150 political parties opposing? Who are you opposing? Most of them are just even legally written, but they don't even act. And most of them, even in that 70 or 80, most of them are parastatals, agencies of the main party. So the idea is create more so that we create the confusion. That's very correct. So yes, this journey is the same thing that we are saying. We have to move. We have to move and take the talk or the conversation from our desk to the people, and you're doing it the right way. Now give us an experience like the one that you've started. Do you think they're listening? Or it's not important whether they listen, we just have to do the work?
Yes, actually, what is surprising, it is me calling the opposition party in Zimbabwe, Chamisa. He was still with MDC then, the Movement of Democratic whatever, before he started off his new party, which is CCC. For 5 years, I tried to reach out to Chamisa. I phoned, I SMSed, I sent WhatsApp messages, I sent messages to his box and inbox. I'm not lying, Dr. Tatah. I can send you the information.
Of
He
course, you can
never
lie.
responded.
You're on the global stage. You can lie. That I believe.
He never responded, not once. When I was in South Africa, when I was planning to come back to Zimbabwe, because I wanted to have a conversation with him to ask, now that Tsvangirai has died, what is the strategy going forward? What are the issues for the new party? Which direction are you going?
Until they start wanting to silence you and shut up your mouth here. It's some kind of, it's weird. Please just be patient. I mean, he's, I don't know what that network or whatever is hanging, but we are going to, he's gonna be back. He's gonna be back. Don't just be nervous. I know it, we know it. And it happens. So we are really excited about this conversation, and from what you heard, it is the same game. It is the same thing. It is the same narrative. It is the same conversations. It is the same everywhere. But we know that it's the time of truth. It's a time of truth. One thing that he said, why he'll be trying to connect back, is the fact that we buy these narratives. We buy the narratives of being against each other. So they put our leaders against us and us against their leaders. And then in the middle, we have this, these mountains, which are called opposition parties. And it just makes a lot of sense that everybody wants to be the leader, and the leaders know it. Our presidents know so well that anybody that is making too much noise wants his seat. They know it. They know it so well. That's why when they give you the platform, you cannot, you would do the same thing, because it's the same mafia, it's the same constitution. So that's why most of them, and even in some countries, they say they're better. All right. Okay. Good. Yep. Let me bring you
Are you
back.
there?
Fine. Yes. Thank you.
Are you there?
Yes.
After 5 years of trying to get in touch with the opposition party, they never responded to an SMS, to an email, to a WhatsApp, to a messenger from, because I wanted to find out from them, what are you going to do at the death of Morgan Tsvangirai? What is your political agenda? What is your land reform agenda? What is your economic agenda? What is your cultural agenda? What are you going to be positioning in terms of land issues? And I had a long list of questions that I had for him, that I'm planning to come back home. I want to find out, how can I assist you as an opposition party to speak to the government and see how we can find a conversation. They ignored me outright. Chamisa, if he's an honest man, can go back to his own emails, can go back to his own WhatsApp, can go back to his own messenger, and he can tell the truth that I was reaching out to him for 5 years. He didn't want to talk to me. Then I said, okay, he does not want to talk to me. I made one phone call to the president of the country on a Friday. On a Sunday morning, I got a reply to come and see him the following week. Within 7 days, the president responded to come and see me. I arrived in Zimbabwe. I went to meet up with him. Sits me down and says, "Thank you very much for reaching out to us. What are you bringing to the table? How can you help us? And what do you want to do?" Now, the opposition leader and the young people see me sitting with the president. I have become a sellout.
I know.
I'm in bed with the party that is killing people. I am this, I am this. They call me names. But none of their leaders can come forward and challenge me on that perspective. Because I can tell you on a platform right now to the whole world, they are liars, they are criminals, and they are not truthful. If they were honest, and if they are honest, they must tell their people the truth. I was willing to engage them, not to join them. As I am willing to engage ZANU-PF, not join ZANU-PF. I'm willing to talk to the people. It goes back to my illustration at the bottom. Do I talk to the people that are making noise in the ship? Or do I go to the person who is driving the ship and give him advice as to which direction we must be going as a country? I have no respect for CCC. I have no respect for MDC. I have no respect for the opposition parties that are in Zimbabwe. For one reason, they also don't have respect for me. And for that reason, let's put this issue to rest. You don't want to talk to me? It's okay. I will talk to people who want to talk to me. I come to Namibia. I asked within 2 days to meet the president. His door is open. I make another phone call to meet the opposition leader in IPC. Within 6 hours, the door is open and we are talking. The same thing I told the president, I'm telling the opposition leader, stop fighting. The problems of our people are the same. Don't be obsessed with power. Transform the community. That is the message I want to start taking across the continent of Africa. That our needs as African must not be overshadowed by our political conquests and ambitions. That everyone who is leading a political party also wants to be a president, but does not have an idea when they get in power, what are they're going to do. If what you want is to see a community transformed, then work together as a community.
Dialogue. I think the issue here is dialogue. Like, we don't have the notion to dialogue. We just have the notion, I want to be there. And so no mediation process, no negotiation process. And so when we even have conflicts, you see, we used to order or even fly in facilitators, negotiation experts from the West to dialogue peace on our continent. I take the example of Southern Cameroons. You see, they are putting the Swiss government to mediate a continental conflict at home. Do you think we really cannot dialogue? Or exactly as you say, the quest for power is where we focus and not the needs of the people?
There are handlers. There are handlers in the political conversation. The leader that you are talking to on the front is not the real leader. Mm-hmm. The real leader is the one who is sponsoring that leader to talk. So if the Swiss are sending negotiators, then you need to find out who is the chief negotiator in the Swiss and what does he stand to gain in the end that the negotiations succeed. Does he have any interest in the mines, in the cocoa, in the oil, What does that leader want? Because you remain talking to another Cameroonian, thinking that he has the interest of the Cameroonians at hand, when in the truth, he is just a handler who has been sent by the Swiss to come and negotiate at their benefit. I said this, and I'll say it loudly. I have no problem with opposition leaders as long as they are opposing legitimately. But don't tell me, as an opposition leader, that you are having your salaries from the British Embassy. You have your salaries from the American Embassy, and you call yourself an opposition party. You have your salaries from the Swiss government, and you say you're opposition leaders. You are not opposition leaders. You are handlers. You are Uncle Toms. You are coconuts. You are sellouts who are here trying to stand for your people while being paid by the same people that are oppressing us. So if you are talking about Cameroon and the Swiss people, don't even waste your time with the opposition leaders. You'd rather find out who is sponsoring the opposition leaders, and that is the leader you need to start worrying about as Cameroonians. Because when that opposition party gets into power, the opposition party must pay him for putting him into power. When Chamisa gets into power in Zimbabwe, we don't have to worry about Chamisa. We need to start worrying who put him into power. Because that is the real issue of African politics. Until we understand that economics sponsors politics, we're wasting time fighting each other. Because the one who pays for the bill has power to switch off the music or switch it on. And African politics is not truthful. Why? Because it is not sponsored by Africans, by Europeans, Americans, Swiss, the French, the Germans, and the British, who have mines, gold fields, oil mines in Zimbabwe, in Angola, in Congo. And when they put their people in power, they can have access to those resources. So it has nothing to do with the people. It has to do with how do they continuously have access to the resources in the countries. Who is stupid now? You tell me, Maponga J, you are colonized. You are a bootlicker. Whose boot am I licking now? If I can tell you the truth, that you as an opposition party, you actually don't have even the slightest amount of authority in your hands to even run the party that you're running. From a pen to a computer to an internet is being paid for by your handlers. And you want to come around and say, we're an opposition party. What are you opposing? Who do you represent? You play around the poverty of the people and you want to create politics out of that. Shame on you as African children. Shame on you that you can sell fellow Africans for a plate of food. And you come around to me and say I'm a bootlicker because I want to work and help a government to make things right for its own people. What are you doing as opposition leaders? This is not Zimbabwe only. These are all opposition parties throughout Africa. Stop lying to your people. Go back to the drawing board. Ask yourself a question as opposition parties. What can we do together with the party to improve the lives of our people? And if we are not careful, when brothers fight to death, the foreigner inherits the wealth.
Thank you very much. Is it also coming from the fact that politics is even not our culture? And so we don't know the rules of the game, and so it's been met on who has, like you say, who has the power controls or who owns the economy. What was it, or if we look back in our pre-colonial history, how did we manage politics? How did we organize ourselves to have one king that will rule a whole kingdom without sub kings opposing? So is it also because this is not part of our culture that we don't know the rules and we're struggling?
I like the way you put it, that we don't have a culture of politics as Africans, because the African governance structures are beautiful. There are various houses within the kingdom. There are warriors. There are wise people. There are medicine people. There are historical people. The list goes on. Artists, craftsmen, dancers, drummers, poets. And every family has a contribution, a critical contribution towards the royal house. That's what makes royalty royalty. Because there's no family that is left behind within the royal house. Every king needs to understand his relationship with every family clan that is there. From history, this family did this for the king. This family does this. This family does this. This clan does this. This clan does this. So when we come together in the royal palace, there's no one who is bigger than the other. When time for poetry comes, the poets stand forward. When time for war comes out, the warriors come forward. When time for medicine comes, the medicine people come forward. When time for healing comes, every family has a contribution. The problem with politics, those in medicine want to do wisdom. Those in wisdom want to do medicine. Those in wisdom want to do war. Those in war want to do fashion. Those in fashion, you have a whole confusion around the village where people are working outside of their area of influence, impact, skill, knowledge, efficiency, and power. What you have at the end of the day is confusion. You have everyone now thinking that they have a gift of leadership, when in fact, culturally speaking, you don't have a gift of leadership. You are just an orator in the palace of the king. Doesn't mean that you have royal blood in you. So for me, it goes back to identity. When you go back and study who you are, and you know your contribution into the palace, each component of the clans must be happy with their contribution, because that's what makes the palace a palace. In a real royal house, the king hardly speaks. Everyone else speaks. The wise man speaks. The medicine man speaks. The wisdom echoes. The warrior chants. The one for royal things chants. The king just sits there and watches everything happening. But the whole participation in the palace has nothing to do with the king, but it is showcasing all the skills, unique skills that are embedded, inculcated. I'm feeling I'm speaking English today. Inculcated, intertwined. Come on, let me speak English. The tapestry of royalty is not around one man, but around how every family contributes towards the glory of their own king, which is their own glory also.
Mm, 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 mm. Yes. It so this is something. Because it is very clear that what doesn't belong to you, no matter how we want to master this game, we will never win this game. Because first of all, it's not us. Now, you started the organization or with the other kings and kingdoms, the UKA, the United Kingdoms of Great Africa, what we call. And the idea was the more we empower this pre-structure, the more probably it will elevate to a point where we get a balance. Because if I look at all the institutions, like just take an example, even the church, why is it that we don't have different pastors fighting the pastors? Everybody's just humble. Everybody knows his role. You know, the elders to the pastors, to the congregation, to the servant. Nobody's fighting. I want to be the that. But when it concerns leadership, why do you think that everybody wants to be a leader? What is it?
It's in one or two form that even when they are practicing Christianity, I don't think they understand the book of Corinthians, chapter 12 and chapter 13, which speaks about the body being made in many parts, you know, the hands, the nose, the mouth, the legs, the stomach, the head, the eyes, the nose, and etc. And how each part of the body stays in its place so that the body is complete. You can't put your mouth in your hands. You can't put your eyes in your mouth. Each part of the human body must stay in its place and do its job in its place so that the human body can function in a holistic way.
Ashe.
I wonder, even Christians who read the Bible, do they understand when it comes to politics? Can we all be eyes? Can we all be mouths? Can we all be hands? Can we all be legs? We need the community to understand strategic positioning as it happens in a cultural space, where each family, each tribe, each clan knows that our contribution to the palace is healing and medicine. And they are happy to contribute towards the health and wealth of the clan, of the kingdom, strictly in giving medical support to the royal family. And the other family says, our hands are built for war. And they are happy to keep their hands for war. So goes for wisdom. So goes for midwives. So goes for astrology, reading the stars. So goes for historical archives, historical information. So goes for seamstresses, makers of dresses. So goes. So goes. The community, the kingdom comes together because each clan, each family positions itself in the lines of their own efficiencies to contribute towards the efficiencies of the entire kingdom. That's how kingdoms of the past were built. No family had useless people. Every family, every clan, every totem brought their glory, brought their excellence, brought their skills to the palace, and there was no competition. We complemented each other.
Um, we are on the education.
Today maybe I sound a bit heavy. I sound a little bit heavy. I sound a little bit heavy. I can tell from your breath there that maybe I'm a little bit.
No.
I, I went back to the past.
No. You've just always, we miss this. I think all of us, even we had this break so that when we come back, we're bringing back. We were on the perspective of always focusing from the outside. And I think what we're talking about now are internal things that concern us. And I mean, when we hold conversation of what the others are doing to us, the atmosphere is different. But now when we speak truth to our own self, then it also becomes another kind of a spirit or a feeling. Now, what I want to say is we are on the platforms where it's all about information and education of who we are. Now, do you think we need this information so badly to teach about the responsibility of being a leader, the burden of being a leader? Because if we understand what leadership is and being even a president, I know in the developed communities where we are, where you give somebody a leadership position, he declines, no matter how
All
much
right.
money you want to put there, because of
I
the
want to do. I want
reputation.
to do something for you and your community next week. So let's make it Thursday next week. I want to put on a jacket and a nice clean shirt. And I want to run for you a leadership seminar. I'll give you an hour next week, Thursday night. Let me not even answer you. I want to take you through a leadership seminar so that we can have, because some of these kids who are watching us think that we don't understand these things, these MBA doctorate things about leadership. We don't understand about the King's report, governance issues, sharing of responsibilities, and etc. I don't even answer a question. On this one, allow me to brush you aside. Let's meet on Thursday next week, Wednesday, Thursday next week. I want to run for you a workshop strictly on how do we develop an African leadership model. I'll call
Yes,
it a farmers of thought leadership 101.
yes.
I will do that for you
Noted.
next week. So,
Noted.
or your audience, you can tell them they have an appointment with me next. Hey, my hands look ugly there, but yes, that's fine. But you can have an appointment for next week, for Wednesday or Thursday, to do a leadership seminar. I'll be there. I'll be there.
Thank you. I think that's very important because I think every other thing that we really are obsessed about is an indication that we have a lot of teachings to do. We already know the political system is not our thing. That's not our strength. And you can
Mm.
never beat any system that is not your own except you use your own. So
Thank
I'm
you.
very grateful and I'm thankful that we are going to get this. And I hope you are listening. Thursday next week, we have a leadership training course here, but we don't need you. Why do you need to put on the three P's, like you said? Why do you want to put on a suit to do the leadership? Because it's a strange thing.
I,
And
I,
so
I
you,
put I put on a jacket. I'll put on a jacket and a tie. Not for me, for them. I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it for you. Because when you see me dressed up like you may think that I'm as educated as you are. Though, of course, I'm as educated as you are. So I'm doing this for you.
now, when I come back to this question, I'm very sorry. We're not on the topic. We'll still go to the other current updates that we have with you. How did our so-called illiterate parents, we're not even going to the kingdoms, how did they manage to create institutions that other people came to hijack without any knowledge of PhDs or whatever, or this political business system? How? did we manage our resources?
The economy was used to hijack culture. Let's not undermine our parents and our forefathers. The pressure was immense. The taxes were high. The guns were on their backs.
Correct.
Slavery was high. And the whole restructuring of the communities using colonial information was atrocious. How do you account for 20 million people in Congo with their hands being cut off if you don't deliver a certain amount of minerals to the Belgian government? And how the fathers of those days and mothers of those days lived to deliver what the Belgian government wanted. And if you did not deliver, your arms were chopped off. Come on, guys, let's not be rough. Let's be reasonable. It was an atrocious time. Our parents actually were stronger than us.
Correct.
Many of us, we don't need to have our arms chopped off, except a change of our mindsets. Our parents, their arms were chopped off for ideological transformation. Here you are. We are talking to you nicely. You won't even lose your cell phone. You will not even lose your airtime. You won't lose your earrings or your arm or your leg. It just needs you to change your mindset. So let's not look at the past with squint eyes as if they were weaker than we are. Half of what they did, you will not even do. Tell me, Dr. Tatah, if you will be able to run this show with one arm and with the other arm has been chopped off because you don't comply, I won't even stretch you that far. You won't survive. So please, when you look at history, look at it not with judgmental eyes. Look at it with survival techniques. Our fathers did what they had to do to survive. We don't have to survive. We are simply wicked, spoiled, confused, and stupid.
Correct. I totally agree. Ignorance. Ignorance. Because I think this is a very crucial point, because we can never go to any point except we'll just be turning around the same side. I don't know.
I'm there. One second.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Like, like I said, everything that we get emotional about, and then we know that's the point where we have to work on. If we get into this empathy, like you say, knowing our history, looking the digital space now shows us those. They show us children that were put in caves. They showed us our people that, we see it, but do we connect? Do we relate to this history? Are we empathetic about this fact? Because I think if we go to that point, then we would begin to, get that feeling and that connection to learn and to have that respect even for our ancestors for what they went through. Do you think we are? We're just busy now thinking they were stupid, they could not do anything, I'm better off because I have degrees and stuff. They were illiterate. Do you think we actually empathize? Do we even know what they went through? Then we would be humble, I think.
A person who knows what they lost can go backwards to find what is it that they lost. But a person who does not know what they lost, even when they go backwards, they don't know. They don't know what to find. Dr. Tatah,
I hear.
If you sit at a restaurant and you leave your phone in the restaurant, and by the time you get home, you discover and remember, I left my phone at the restaurant. When you walk back to the restaurant, what are you looking for?
My phone.
You are clear. And when you get to the reception, who was serving table number 8? I was sitting in here. I came here. I left my phone here. You are clear on what you want in the past. But when our young people don't know what they lost, even if you take them to the past, they don't know.
I hear.
Your
But
fashion, your medicine, your politics, your education, your land. If you don't know what you lost, how do you go back to a restaurant and look for what you lost when you don't know what you lost? I'm asking you.
no, but if it even comes from the point that if I even knew what I lost something, I think that's the fundamental. Did I even know that I lost something? I think we're even a step better for me to even know that I had something that I lost. But I think we're still at that level that I didn't even know that I lost something.
Through that, for an African child who does not know what they lost, then shut up and let us who know what we lost as old people tell you what you lost. Don't come on the public forums pretending as if you know everything when you know nothing at all. Some of us who are old enough, we know the value of land and what is in the land. Agriculture, forestry, mining, roads, medicine, housing, culture, heritage. I know what my grandfathers lost. I know what Africa has lost. I know. If you don't know, shut up.
It is it is very obvious. It's very obvious that we cannot learn when we all know something. And I think I can understand when we say we need at some point we need to we need to allow to be led, particularly who do you want to be leading you, because it's the same thing. You have that impression all of us are just being confused. The young people think they know so much because a system that teaches you know the child has a right to do this, nobody is disagreeing with that. But is it also possible that I can say I cannot know everything even though we are so smart?
Dr. Tatah, I'll be the first one of all the traditional leaders that you have met. I will admit, I know nothing. I'm willing to learn, even from the youngest people. I will learn. Because what I know is not important to you. The history that I have in my chest, which is your history, you don't want to know it. The future that the white man has told you is what you want. Because I'm a mature person, I'll bow my head and I'll look at my young kid and say, me, I know nothing. Now, I know as I'm looking at your face, that feels uncomfortable. But this is the reality. Our young people don't want to learn anything. They know everything. They know how to get married. They know how to get each other pregnant. They know where they want to go to. They want to become like Shrek. And they want to become movie actors. They want to become rappers on the music. They want to put on golden chains like Tupac. They want to become rappers like Jay-Z. That's the world that they want. I can't stop you. If that is the world that you want, I sit back here as an old man, looking at you, losing yourself into a fake reality of another culture. And I bow my head and I say, if that's what you want, you can have it.
Is it also possible? I mean, for me, I think there are mistakes that we should not make. We are not saying that the elders also, because we're living in different generation and times and space. It doesn't change the fact that our culture is the same. But because of the changes, is it also possible that we know that we should not make the same mistakes by always thinking that we know everything? That the dialogue comes from, even when you teach better when you listen, you teach better when you claim also you don't know. But when we look also in our structure, like we can say it's because of the trauma that our parents or our ancestors went through. When you're talking about our ancestors or our own culture, do you see some conservative structures that you think this is the reason why maybe our young people are not listening? I take for example, we have some conservative rule system. And I don't think this was our African culture. I know our culture was the one that we tell stories, we give the past to always the generation. I grew up in the village, I listened to that. But there's also another conservative structure that I thought was introduced to us through the slave system by command. And so we don't dialogue like parents with our children because we think they know nothing. And so we become dictators. We have to tell them what we think we know. And probably we inherited even things that we did not know. Am I making sense? Or it's just
Susan,
not?
Susan,
I hear.
you are younger than me by many years.
Maybe not.
You're younger than me. I'm. How old are you? I don't want to embarrass you in front of your audience, but I'm older than you by a couple of years. I want to say some. I want to say something. This part of the conversation, you're going to cut it and keep it as an archive. They will kill me, Dr. Tatah.
Who?
No, don't ask me.
Okay.
There's a day that is coming where you run a program on your show on the death of Marara. Okay? He has left us. He has died. The Americans, the British, the Germans, the French. I don't know. I know that by accepting my call, I have signed for my death warrant. Because the world we live in does not respect, appreciate people who want to identify themselves. I've accepted that. So you better start writing a speech of my funeral. I have lived. I'm ready to live. I am ready to die for what I believe the African people must be, must become. Whether you as African people accept it or not, is not my problem. Sankara came, you did not accept him. Lumumba came, you did not accept him. Nkrumah came, let's break the borders. No, Lumumba is wrong. Nyerere is right. Magufuli came. Every generation for the African nation. Your ancestors give you someone who reminds you who you are, where you're coming from, and where you must go. But as African children, you still don't get it.
Every generation.
I'm going to Zimbabwe. I'm going to Zimbabwe on Thursday, this coming week. Ask me what I'm going to do in Zimbabwe. Ask me. Ask me.
What are you going to do in Zimbabwe next week?
I'm going to build my grave.
It is okay. It is, I think we had a conversation here with Dr. Elaine. Dr. Elaine is coming back on Thursday. And the idea was, we know our times, we know how it ends, we know, but we don't say, I want it. Like, is it what you want? Is it what you want, my king?
I pray for peace, unity for the African people. By the time we close our eyes in this generation, I wish, I hope that we would have found ourselves as Africans, our Kebla, and unite towards a common goal. It is always said that the passing away of every stalwart, we look back with sentimental emotion. Yet when we have the same experience, we don't appreciate it. I guarantee you, Dr. Tatah, I'm starting the movement from Namibia, Botswana, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Ghana, Egypt, Germany. I wish we can have a conversation when I come back. If I'm alive, I'll put another glass of water in this glass and I drink with you. But if I die on that, put it on record. Put it on record.
My king, I can already tell you you're not going to die.
No, I don't want you to comfort. I don't want you to comfort.
I'm also, remember, I'm also a goddess. You are not going to die. Nobody is dying. You have a lot of mission. Your mission is not complete. You're going to go to all these places, but you are not going to die, except you say, I want to go. Nobody. You're not going to die because you have the mission that you've been called on, and that purpose is there. We are going to take it to the level until our ancestors say, now it is. I can understand the frustration. I understand because we look at it all. But if you go even to the Bible, it's the same thing. We are not from there, but you see the same scenario where even Jesus had to procrastinate his own because I don't know whether it's just another kind of a spirit, but we know that love conquers everything and love doesn't die.
But
Everybody,
the problem, doctor, Africa does not love Africa.
it's very.
Love conquers everything. But our people don't love each other.
How do they even know that they need to love you? That's the reason why we're here. That's the reason why you're here, because I think we had this conversation. If you don't even love your own self, how do you even know love? So it is in the spirit, it is in us, it is in your mission. And in that mission, that's why I say I disagree. I agree with every other thing that you've said onto one point. You're not going anywhere. You're going to see your great great grand. All of us are going to be here. Nobody's going anywhere. You're not coming to destroy anything. You come in the name of love. We have to teach our people. So I disagree with that. I'm not writing anything here and I'm not accepting anything here. So don't tell me mark this date. We are not marking this date. And we know that you're going to do that. And all of us would meet here and we'll drink of that water. So let's just drink water and mind our African business. I know when you're on the field, how frustrating, how drained you are. You've been meeting a lot of spirit. You've been meeting all sort of people. Do you think you still come back the same? You need to pull back like you went back to your ancestors. You tank that energy. Mingling, even through teaching, is also another way that they suck that energy from you and begin to put this kind of a spirit. But you're back here and we say no. I say
I have
no.
looked I have looked at how African brothers participated in the death of Sankara. I have looked in how African brothers participated in the death of Gaddafi. I have looked and I witnessed the death of Nkrumah, Mugabe. I've looked, seen how African brothers have participated on the death of their own history. And I know I will not die in the hands of a white man. I have accepted I will die in the hands of a black man who has been assigned to eliminate a fellow black brother. I say what I'm saying from knowledge. It's not a prophecy. It's truth. I will not die now. I agree with you. But the agenda on conversation is the African child prepared to face their destiny in the writing of the global politics and challenge the economics of the West, which is a death warrant for the black brother. I'm not prophesying my death. I said, cut this piece, put it in your archives. The day when it happens, don't say, I did not say it. I'm not prophesying my death, but I'm aware that the colonial system we're working with is not friendly to a revolution of thought, to transform the African mind and change the African child towards their own destiny. I am not mixed up, my honorable princess. I am not mixed up. I'm clear.
I hear you.
That until as Africans we begin to live with each other, protect each other, build our narrative and our history, we will be responsible for killing each other. To fulfill the European dream.
Everything is the master plan. That's what we say. And until that master plan is, there's still a lot. So if we are living in the system that we feel like, or we see the things that don't add up, and then the question would be like, whether I live now or I don't live now, what difference does it make if I can make a change? That is the fundamental question. And I think, my king, I don't see any structure that you're not a political, all the people you've led, or I want us to separate some things. We're educating ourselves, we're empowering ourselves. I refuse to agree. I do understand, and I have too much respect for your wisdom and your knowledge, but I have I have an alternative to say. Every other person that you listed were presidents, and presidents. I don't. You are not a president. Sankara was the president. Gaddafi was the president. Or all were presidents. So that's another pot. Okay, let's keep that one aside. You are not a president. So it's about methodology. When we already begin to start seeing things that we see, taking the examples from the others, we also have to put ourselves in the position, whether was I in this position, because I think a lot of factors contribute to what we finally see as the end picture. So, my king, I still say it. I refuse that because I know that that is not your mission. And for no reason, anything will act in that manner. That's not your mission. You have another mission. Your mission is to teach. Your mission is to organize. But then probably even in our methodology of teaching and every other stuff, if I know that this is the principle that I follow, and it might, whether you like it or not, it's always good. Even if you just don't say anything now, my king, you're already at that point, like Macbeth say, I'm so deep in blood that going back becomes difficult, that it's easier for me to go ahead. So I don't even think it makes any difference from that thought. But what I know and what I feel and what I see and what I hear and what I smell, you have another mission, you have another purpose. And I don't see any contradiction in those two things. Stay your lane, like you already said.
My mission is one.
Yes.
Africa uniting, creating a common economic hub. Africa uniting.
I share.
In common borderless Africa. Africa uniting. Creating an academic educational platform. Africa entertainment and sports. Africa united. One military base for Africa. Africa united. Creating one resource center where we can do business with each other without colonial imperialism. Africa united.
But I don't see anybody killing you on those principles.
But the problem is my principles that I am propagating affect the economic systems of the West. And if they are implemented, the people that are in power, in financial muscle, don't want to hear the message of an Africa that is united. That affects their bottom line. Let's go back to our conversation. I think I've said what I needed to say in this
Thank
part
you. Yes.
of the.
I know. Like I said, you've been on the road shows, and to be honest with you, my king, you would have to really even purify yourself again from your spiritual space. You know it. Spirits that we interact with them, it's different. But that's another conversation, or that's something that we do offline. But now I want to go to the point before we even came to this. I saw your brands. And that's the point of unity. And I know one of our elders who said, if I don't make, I don't wear. And we posted today, like, you wear your own brands made by you. And we know it is going to come to a point where Africans are beginning to realize that they need to create their own brands that are really extraordinary and just authentic. Now, what is the message with these brands? I mean, you're coming to the expo to unite and to deliver exactly what you're doing, which is what we really agree. Because 2019 we had Professor PLO, and this time it's going to be you, and you're going to meet the diaspora community from all countries, like he did. But you expressed one thing today that I want us to touch base on it. Let's just forget about this dying, who killing, whatever. But what is it that you think is so unique? I mean, your brands don't look anything like, if we want to look at it from the point of view, like you were saying, put on a tie and a suit. It's just itself. It's just that. What is the inspiration? What is the message? You use your leather is raw. You do your own accessories on it, and then you brand yourself even on it. You put your identity on it. It's about Maponga. That is too much. That's too much message. That's too much education. What is this inspiration?
Thank you. Thank you for that. What all I'm trying to say is that Gucci, money,
Whatever. don't give
Ray-Ban,
any don't even give any credit to it. Just go to your own, because now you're making some publicity for them here.
all, all these brands are coming from a cultural base
Yes.
of making one brand international
Mm-hmm.
and sideline all other indigenous brands. If you look at the amount of tribes that we have in Africa,
Mm-hmm.
you can begin to combine those brands into an African brand. You don't need to buy another Versace
Mm-hmm.
brand. Move that to technology. And
What's the issue here?
perfumes, there are clothes, there are technologies, there are softwares, there are hardwares, there are cell phones, there are interactive social spaces, WhatsApp, Facebook, etc. My my understanding is that as Africans, we can begin to develop African brands,
Absolutely correct.
patronize those brands, and develop an African economy for ourselves. In conclusion, If we stop supporting foreign brands and we start investing in our own brands, we can create an economy for ourselves. Because cultural colonialism results in economic support basis. And the one you give your money to is power over your culture.
I mean, like it's so empowering. I mean, we see the cotton, we see the stuff, but that you produce your own brand, and then it's about you. I mean, we see people produce brand to sell. Like, let me just say, I produce my brand and I put myself on it, and some people will be like, why should I wear you on your own brand? But it's so powerful to see, particularly the natural elements you use. Where do you get the leather?
It's the cattle, it is the goats, it is the kudus. And by the way, some who are small-minded might think that this is just about clothes.
Yes.
I'm also looking. I'm going to start something in the line of indigenous medicines. Also something in the line of indigenous architecture. I'm building my father's old homestead. I'm building a palace using indigenous designs. Maybe this is why I'm here, just to tell you that as Africans, we can create our own economy, our own houses, our own, so that by the time you're talking about the global village, the question is, what are we bringing to the table as Africans? You saw my dressing that I received from Cameroon. Tell me that is not beautiful. Tell me that is not respectable. Tell me that is not nice, fashionable. Tell me that that dress I'm putting on, a woman sat down and it was handmade. You look at that design and tell me that as Africans, we don't have the technology. Be ourselves. I'm not saying buy my brand. No. I'm encouraging you to say, as African children, we can create our brands and buy our brands, own our brands, and own our history, write our own future, and spend money on ourselves. And once we spend money on ourselves, the white man has nothing to take back home. That, for me, is respect. So many people might think that Maponga J is managing his brand. I'm sorry to tell you that all those clothes you see out there, I've not sold even one piece of them. I only sold about 5 or 10 heads. That's all I did. The rest of it is not meant for you to buy. It's meant for you to say, wherever you are, start creating African brands, create an economy out of your culture, because our culture is our currency.
And for all of us that are watching, like you say, Maponga J. King Maponga is attending the 15th edition of the Africa Expo Festival Germany, you know, in different sectors. He's going to
the invitation has arrived. The invitation arrived. When I get to Harare on Friday, I'll start the visa. And take note, I must get a visa to come to Germany and etc. But the Germans don't need visas to come to Africa. But that's for another day. That's for another day.
That's okay, but you're coming here, and these are the conversations that we have to hold with them. That's why I say, when we sit on the table and talk of these things, and everything's okay, we're matured enough, we know how to dialogue, to negotiate, to talk without being emotional, and you know. So The thing is, I'm telling the audience, any of you, whoever you are, wherever you are, it's possible to make it, because what we're saying in Germany this year is like, imagine a king coming in different perspectives. How is he coming? He's coming like a designer of his own raw material and his own. So he's going to be a fashionista. We have another queen coming from Tanzania, and he only does Mother Nature just as him. So this topic of going back to Mother Nature, that is Mother Africa, is seen in our designs and everything. The king is also coming like a writer, an author. We all know he has his books. I mean, the wisdom that he has led behind, even before we met the recent one, but he's been writing, putting out a lot of literature. So he's going to be doing book presentation. He's going to be having workshops on creative writing. But you know what? That's not only all. Now he's even talking about building your own wealth, and we have this investment forum, diaspora investment forum, where we want to present all the possibilities where we can invest our money as stocks within us and share. But the best thing is he's also going to be a live artist, like be on stage live. You do know, I don't know, what instruments do you not play, my king? I don't say do you play. Which ones do you not play? Because I think I want
The ones that I have not yet been able to buy.
like what?
Maybe I've not bought a violin yet. I've not bought a. But if you leave it with me, I think I'll play it, because for me, music is the same. It's just interpretation of arts. But I think I would want to showcase the genius of an African child, the wealth of an African child. Be it fashion, we excel. Be it athletics, we excel. Be it music, we excel. We are excellent people. I like the theme you developed the other day, when you say we need to start talking not just about Africa, but the great Africa. Great Africa. And I think that Africans, we are doing this world a disfavor by walking onto the platform as underdogs.
Thank you.
When we are actually champions of architecture, art, of music,
Yes.
tapestry, construction, even astrological history. Pick up on the conversation, please. Find out one of the griots from Senegal or Mali or Gambia who can relate their history for 600 years by memory. Tell me which American, British, German person can do that. We have what it takes as African people to contribute. And I will not allow myself to become a footnote on this history when I am the subject matter. I will not allow myself to become an object of conversation when I am the subject of conversation. I thank you.
Thank you. You see, that's you. This is you. This is you, Marara. This is you. This is the mission. Every other thing that you were saying was not you. Wherever it touched you, this is the you, the creator, the great African. And exactly this you is in every particles of us. And that's why our meeting is a global come together meeting in Germany, just like we say after COVID. But the main thing is to present the way forward. It's even the design of the village. Because like we were saying, how do we transport and put Africa on the global space? It's our talent, it's our know-how, it's our creation, it's our expertise. And you alone representing, bringing every particle, every aspect Whether it's the Mbira culture, you're going to do it. Whether it's the Djembe culture, you're going to do it. Whether it's, that's why I was asking, what is it that you cannot play? We watch your concert. I watched the concert in Namibia. I watched it throughout because Petrina was there, our correspondent there, and we were into live on it. And it was so amazing how you go for a concert and and you stole the show. So that is you. That's the flower we're talking about. And I can't wait because Germany is waiting for you. Africans in the diaspora are waiting for you. Come and give us that pieces of Marara. We are ready.
The best part for me is not the art, the art. You can Google that. I'm coming to Germany to sit in the room where African was divided. And we are coming to make a declaration from the same conference room to say what the white men said Africa was.
Oh, I
This is
still have
not.
to book an appointment on that. I still have to
No,
book that appointment to get that. Yes, it's open. There's nobody that is
that
refusing.
for me,
I have to
you
book that
can miss,
appointment.
you can do everything else. I want to sit in that room with 10, 11, 12, 15 African kings. And we can say to the world that what was done in the 1800s, we are here and now declaring that the borders put by the white men don't define us. And we have reached the moment now. I saw an article, if you had read on my Facebook status, where Putin is developing the Russian Empire. His main objective is to build the Russian Empire. So what is wrong? Britain has its own empire. Indians have their own empire. Chinese have their own empire. When will Africans begin to talk about their own empires? Empires. 5 of them or 6 of them come to mind. Tatah Empire. Queen Sheba, Ethiopia Empire. The Congo, Chitikulu empires. Central Africa empires. And North African empires, including Nigeria, Senegal, Gambia, Ghana, Benin empires. If other civilizations are restoring their empires, what makes you think as Africans that you don't also have your own political, economic empires that you need to restore? We need to respect each other as global citizens so that no citizen of one empire can think himself that he is above, he is better, he is superior. The British is not superior to the Nigerian, to the Kenyan, to the Zimbabwean, and to the Zambian. If your Queen of London is important, my queen in my own empire is as important as your queen. But because of education, we think that our empires are inferior. But in their inferiority, they are supplying the resources for the colonial empires. I'm here to bring a revolution of respect, dignity, and cultural restoration. That as Africans, we have a history, we have a narrative that the world must listen to. And that narrative creates our economy. I'm in Namibia right now. They've discovered 3 sources of oil in Namibia. I'm sad to announce to you that all 3 of them have already been claimed by BP, by Shell, and the French companies. In Namibia, we have resources, but the contracts that have been signed are in colonial hands. Let me make it very clear. The white man will never change his behavior. And oil is a source of war. I say, and I cry with Namibia, you have just discovered a curse on your land. It was until you own your resources as Africa, the white man will never change his ways. Let me say it again. The white man will not change his ways. One more time. The white man does not change his ways.
We have one objective, and I think you just touched the point about education. We probably one of the things that we need to do. I mean, we're rounding up the conversation in 4 minutes. That's very okay. One thing that we as Africans have not done, and we are not doing, is teaching the world about us. Because now we already know, we first of all have to know who we are first before we even teach the world. Could you ever believe that there's just too much ignorance? Like somebody already know, I don't know. And then you, because you don't even know who you are, you think the person knows more than you. That's my experience. My experience is we have this responsibility to bring something on the table. We are not doing it. African solutions on the global space. Africa, teach Africans, teach the world who you are. We have not even started. We're still even trying to say, no, we have to build ourselves. We have to do this. There's just too much ignorance. That's what I talked about in the beginning. And because we are already in that space, we think, like you sit on the table with a classmate that you think they know more than you just become even more dull than that person. So I want to thank you so much, my king. I want to congratulate your effort and your wisdom, your time, your energy. But do also know that we have a lot of work to do. We have a mission to do, and you have not even started. It will be a wonderful pleasure. Now, if you, I want to ask this question, I should have asked you probably before. When you say we want to sit in that room in Berlin with kings, are you mobilizing the kings? Because I need to get a list of the kings that are coming and from which kingdoms they're coming. You know, Germans, they like a lot of bureaucracy. They want to get names and information and that. For us to go into the, it's not the problem. But do you think it's possible that we can put up something like I talked to King Bonga, he's ready like yesterday, and should we put the kings and queens together, or you want us to do this offline so we can identify?
I want us to have a conversation on Friday.
All right.
Out of this call. Yeah, you know, I'm arriving in Harare on Wednesday, Thursday, but Friday will be good. I want us to identify maybe 10 or 15 kings in Africa who were directly affected by the Berlin conference. And I want them to be in Berlin with me If they can't come, they must send their representatives into Berlin, and we will make this happen. If the king and his representative are not there, I will get a Congolese in Berlin. I will get a Zambian in Berlin. I will get all the countries that were violated and abused by the colonial system to sit in that room on behalf of their kingdoms. Because what we are doing, some of these kings are on the payroll of the colonial system. So I understand this will be difficult for them to do, but
But
this
all their
project
kingdoms are represented here. Exactly like you're saying. We're more than all the nations that you would meet at the Africa Festival. We are in the
between,
south, but we'll be going to the
between me and
east.
you, between me and you, everyone that is in the European space whose kingdom is affected by the Berlin Conference, I want them in that room. The world will know I came to Berlin to undo what colonialism did. And history will be rewritten. And I'm glad to tell you, Dr. Tatah, you are part of that narrative.
Of course, I've been the one calling and saying until we meet in Berlin to undo this thing, nothing is going anywhere. I'm here and I've been saying it. We
Can I
need,
drink to that? Can I drink to that?
and we mind our African business on that. So, yes, it's 23 o'clock. We're exactly 2 hours. I want to thank you for your time. Um, um, so when next Thursday, you talked about the training, we go on the structure of the business thing. And when you get next week, we're having a conversation, or this week on Friday. Am I correct?
Yes, I'm ready for a leadership conference on Thursday. Properly business. For the first time, your audience will see me in a jacket and a tie because that's what they understand.
No, I
Not
wish
that,
not. Not this
not that,
audience.
no, 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 not that I can, but I will do it for you. We are dealing with colonized people, so we need to help them. We need to
And
help them. I've moved 100 kilometers ahead of them. I will put on a jacket. If they want me to put on a tie, I will put on a tie just so that they can understand that the colonial system, I understand it as much well. In some certain spaces, I even understand it far much better than they do.
that's correct. Of course.
Maybe it will add value because our African brothers, they don't accept anything unless it is looking like a white man.
Okay, but if that's the principle, to they say go to Rome, do what the Romans say. If that's the way, maybe to get more understanding, a process of our people, let's do it. Ashe. Thank you so very much, my king. It was a pleasure having you here, and I think we've connected, we've reconnected, and we thank you on this journey. And we know, keep us posting as we share with the community. We shared the speech that you had, and we also shared, you know, everything that you're doing out there. You know that we post and we share and we connect and we teach and educate ourselves. We're also putting eyes on the things that you're doing so that we can raise a lot of questions as well. And so
Yes,
we can
I was in
also share.
Namibia. I went to Okavango. I went to Katima Mlilo. I went to Great Zambezi space. Met tribes, nations. I met the Khoisan people but there's lots. Africa has lots to teach the world. And when I say that, I might as well just say I am a student. Please, in your comments, be kind with me. I know nothing. I'm a student. I'm a young person. I'm 53 years old. I'm learning. I'm learning. But as life has it, by the time you know everything, you must die. So I'm still a student, learning about where we are coming from and where we are going. And thank you, Dr. Susan Tatah, for opening this platform that we can have this conversation. And for that, I'm ever grateful.
Thank you so much for making me an admin to manage your platforms as well. I mean, that's too much confidence and too much authority and too much privilege that you're giving us here to share and into your space. You know, this if we were not what we are, somebody would be like, "How dare you?" But you just like the door is open, come in, take, and that's who we know what our leaders are all about. So thank you
Can
so
I can I tell them? Can I tell them you're an administrator on my page also? Can I tell them?
Go ahead.
Yeah, she is an administrator of Farmers of Thought page. Please respect her. She has full access to that page. She can post whatever she wants, whenever she wants. The idea is to develop the Africa that we want. I thank you.
Thank you so very much. So if you see me come Pan African Day, come live there, don't begin to ask what are you doing here. Thank you so very much, my king. And thank you to our honorable audience tonight. If you have any questions or any thoughts or any suggestion or any comment, and if you're here for the first time and you think these conversations are interesting, we have to continue doing what we're doing. Do not forget to subscribe and click the notification so when we go live, you're informed. And today we are streaming live from Farmers of Thought, and we thank you so much. Bayete, Bayete, my king.
Thank you.
Bayete, thank you. So good. Like we know. Thank you so much. Thank you, my honorable audience, and thank you to all of you that participated in this conversation. I just want to thank your maturity. Even I read from the comments and everything that we go through. We are a work in progress people. We have to be patient with one another. And like we know, our rules or our family on the Pan African Daily is we don't know anything. We're ready to learn. And when we have a guest, a leader, a speaker that comes voluntarily to share their experiences with us, they are not dictating to us what we don't know. So, what normally we do on the Pan African Daily is we listen, we learn, we research a lot. And if we disagree with some points, we honorably, humbly, just like we are, suggest and make a proposal. So that's the way we function, and that's the way we have been. And that's why we are a global family on the Pan African Daily that are open. We did not say we are having a debate here with any audience. And so if you throw your comments, it's just your comments that you're throwing at yourself because it wasn't a debate. If you have to say no, this is wrong, this is not right. But the day we call a debate, you are so much welcome to disagree and to comment. But today, what we were doing is just having a feedback and having a conversation. And so you can already understand the pattern that if I'm having a feedback and a conversation with a king, why do I disagree? Because it's not a debate. We did not open a debate. So these are all the structures that we should understand. And what we also do agree and accept is please feel free to throw your comments in the section. And we you didn't see us block any person in the space. You didn't see us disrespect any person. I saw some very irrelevant comments that you were throwing at the king, but we did not even get an attention on it. So we do understand that we might have different opinion and different perspective. That's what makes us so rich. But like you heard the king say, we are in the generation where we dialogue, where we listen to our young ones. We're not saying that someone has to be like this because we already understood that everyone has his mission and his purpose. Even if your mission is just here to hate some other people, then you ask yourself, probably that's your mission. But we did not create any person and we don't judge any person. Anybody has his own role. But if your mission contributes to unite us, then that's the perfect thing. So you can know I'm realizing my purpose here. But if your mission is the one that project something that is not you. Probably maybe you need to sit and reflect. If you need help, we have a lot of mentors, we have a lot of elders. You see, these are also systems that we say we need to prepare for the unity. Unity means a lot of work. We cannot just sit and say we unite. We have to put the instruments. We have to put a lot of education. We have to put a lot of psychologists. We have to put a lot of counseling, a lot of lawyers, it's a whole mega system. So unity is a whole business. It's a whole system on its own. And so when we talk about unity, we should be prepared to know that there are people also that need healing. That we're coming from a lot of setup. We're coming from a lot of abuse through our enslavement, through our poverty, through our colonization. We've inherited systems that did not belong to us. And you can imagine all those luggages that we're having. So we are not offended, even if you throw some negative comment or you did anything. We're just saying, if you need help, there's a lot of people that can help. If you have a question, there's another way you can put the question. But if you just like, I'm just really pissed up with all this nonsense because I have too much on my plate, we do also understand that. We are so mature to handle all these things. We have to heal a lot. Most of us are so broken from the continent or us. Most of us are living under terrible conditions. We don't even know what tomorrow looks like. A lot of our young people that we're saying today are so hopeless. They don't even know where to start. They don't even know how to start. And so they get frustrated. It's okay for you to pour out that frustration. I do understand. And we are really in that space where we need to heal. We need to accept. We need to tolerate. We need to be patient a lot with ourselves. So it is good. Everything is fine. I want to thank all of you for being here. I want to thank all of you that are watching from the Farmers of Thoughts page. And the king that was here, you do admire him. You follow him. If you look at the viewers, even up to now, is because most of you are watching from that space. So everything that he has said, if there's something that you didn't disagree with, but one thing that we know is we have to protect him with everything. And the biggest thing that we can protect him is to show a lot of love. Even if we disagree, the way we protect our leaders, like we say, we've arrived, we've been in a position where we're bought over, is because there's that brokenness in us. So it's easy to capture anybody that is broken. But imagine our consciousness and everything, all the feeding, all the teaching that we eat. And sometimes we just pull back from the world and reflect. It's going to do us so much good. So I want to thank you for being my audience. I want to thank you all for this wonderful, beautiful conversation. And do keep that date with us again, like he said, on Thursday and on Friday. We're going to be doing a lot of conversation. He also needs this feedback. He needs this platform. He needs the comment. Imagine you're a teacher just going on the road and just giving. He also needs that we give him back. And the best way to give is to show that love for one another. He needs the energy. He needs the vibration to always thank and replace. Each and every one of us need it. Okay. So please make sure you text him, you encourage him, you appreciate him, you show him too much love. That's the only weapon that we have. Okay. Instead of disagreeing, we can disagree in a very responsible way, but we need to first of all appreciate. So I thank you, and I thank you for listening to my French. When I say my French, like anything that didn't make sense here that we just said, please just forget and understand that we have a continent and we have ourselves to build. No one will do it for us. Only us can help ourselves. Even if we disagree, we can disagree, but we must agree. We don't have a choice. So I want to thank you. And tomorrow I'll be coming live. I just don't know who my guest is going to be. But if you are feeling comfortable to say, I want to be a guest, I have a topic that we can relate on, we are just so open. You can text us on +49 1578 211 2379. I want to get more young voices coming out to also give their own experiences. What is it that we can dialogue? The elder generation, the younger generation, the three generation scores have to have a common purpose. So we need to hear from you, our young people. And I want to thank all of you that have been here, that have subscribed. Continue to support us, continue to empower us, continue to pardon our French. All right, we're old, we're getting old, we are old school. Yes, continue to pardon everything that we do. All is the same spirit, the same vibration. So I thank you so very much. And we see us tomorrow with this powerful, only good vibes. Good vibes only. All right. Let's talk on Tuesday. Yes, let's talk on Tuesday. We're coming live on Tuesday. Probably the young executive team would be coming on, and the senior executive team is preparing. Did you set your alarm at 12:12? Because that's what connects us. 12:12 means Ubuntu. That's the Ubuntu code on the Pan African Daily for all of you that are watching. Just set your alarms on 12:12 p.m. When it rings, you remember me, I remember you. Every 12:12, my alarm rings, and I just go on drinking my water, minding my African business, and say, I am because you are. You are because I am. So do it, all of us. Set your alarm at 12:12 p.m. That is the code of Ubuntu-ness, okay? Thank you very much. We wish you a nice time. We bless you and your families. Continue loving one another. Continue empowering one another. Continue even criticizing so that we can grow, because we're not dictators. Throw everything that you want us to answer, we will do it. But always say, Bayete, Bayete, Bayete. We bless you. Good night, and we see us tomorrow. You are watching the Pan African Daily TV with Dr. Susan Tatah. The Africa we want: unity, consciousness, our culture, our spirituality, our history. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Motherland's calling its diaspora home. Join my voice. Join my team. Join my campaign. Campaign 21 hashtag 1 million subscribers on the Pan African Daily TV YouTube. Be a volunteer. Apply now. Be the new Africa.